Hey, what's up guys? Kobe Cheese here for another one of my champion first impressions. This time, one of the most long-awaited champions. She was announced a long time ago. Ahri is finally out. So how does she stack up? And should you get her? And should you be worried about her in your games? Well, I have to say right now, right off the bat, I'll just come out and say it. I think that she's mediocre. Now, I'm not saying she's bad, because she's definitely not bad. She is good, but she's not great. So I think that some people will find Ahri to their liking, and some people will not. Also, I feel that she can also be misunderstood in what type of champion she really is. So let me go over kind of her pros and her cons and how she should really be played to be at her maximum potential. So right now she does, I feel, have a high skill cap. Basically all of her abilities are skill shots. Yes, her ultimate and her W are kind of auto targeted, but you have to use them properly for them to hit the right targets. And the Q and the E are a very, very big part of her damage combo. So I'll go over those abilities in just a little bit. She does do pretty well against certain champions. She can counter skill shots really well. She can even dodge things like Xerath ultimate quite nicely. I actually have a clip here where my friend Halewind sent me. She was dodging a couple of Xerath ultimates and taking him out. First one, he got a little bit greedy, and after that, she just kind of started beating him. Because if you do land all of your abilities on Ahri, including your ultimate, you are going to do quite a big amount of burst, obviously depending on which items you build. So you may think that Ahri is like this high mobility burst assassin, and that is definitely not the case. Ahri is actually more of a, hey, I'm going to kite you around and do steady DPS over the course of a fight type of champion. She's got low cooldowns, low mana cost, so what you really want to do is stay in a fight longer, whereas some mages, they'll just blow all their abilities and then they have higher cooldowns and you have to wait longer before you can go back in again. Whereas Ahri, she's going to be flowing in and out of fights and keeping enemies at bay and trying to stay alive throughout the fight, and she's more threatening as the fight goes on. That's the way Ahri needs to be played. So that actually that actually ties into how you build Ahri. So while most burst assassins, you want to go for death cap and items such as that first and go squishy and high burst, you can't really do that on Ahri. I mean, you can, but it's not the most viable option for her. She doesn't have the greatest ratios on her abilities, so it's not necessarily the wisest thing to do. And she has to get in close to fight. She has to, with her ultimate and her W, she has to get in close to fights to really maximize her damage. And in order to do that, you're going to be putting yourself in the line of fire. So especially if you're going to be going up against CC people, you need to have that extra HP. The way you should be building Ahri is to go for 2 or 3 Doran's rings into a sorcerer boots for that magic pin, and then you'll go for a Ryleigh's crystal scepter. This gives her the ability to really kite well, and you don't need the red buff to do so, which, by the way, red buff is actually kind of nice on her, since now red buff does work with ability power spells rather than just auto attacks, if you didn't know that, by the way. And so, yes, she can run in there, she can kite people with her Q, you throw that out, and it has a deceptively longer range because it does shoot out kind of slow, and you can just run backwards after you shoot it. So if people are chasing you, you can hit them with that. She's really great against melee champions that run up close to you, you hit your W, and you can just continue running around, and that thing will automatically target them. So there's a lot of cool things you can do with that to kite people around, especially once you get your Ryleighs. And then after your Ryleighs, then you start going for your bursty items. You go for your death cap and possibly even an hourglass. It all just depends after that point. You could even go for what I had been doing is I would go for a Will of the Ancients. That way, like I said, she is a more tanky and kitey type of champion, so being able to sit there in a fight for a really long time and heal yourself back up, not only with your passive, which gives you 35% after after hitting 9 things, you get that lifesteal, but the Will of the Ancients lifesteal is so much nicer, and then if you have another AP on your team, obviously that's going to benefit them as well. So I think that those two things combined make her a pretty well-rounded build, and she's going to be doing good enough damage overall. As for her masteries and runes, I'll just do the standard caster setup with the 2109. For runes, I do this a little bit different. Most of my casters, I just do like a full AP page. For her, I'll do the standard magic pin runes and the flat AP quints, but then I'll go for mana regen at level 18 for my seals and my blues. That way, she has just really good sustain in the lane. And again, her ratios aren't that giant, so losing that ability power for the ability to just spam and spam in the lane even more is going to make her really strong. This is going to allow you to harass and then even use your Q to get in some farm without it really hurting you all that much. So when you're playing Ahri, what you want to do in the laning phase is try to put all your spells on smart cast first of all, and that's going to make it really easy for you to pop off your Q and your E at a moment's notice, because you need to be able to predict what your enemy is about to do and then shoot at that direction where they're going to go. So what I like to do whenever I am laning is I'll watch the enemy and I'll watch the creeps, and I'll say, okay, this creep is really low and they're about to run up and auto attack that creep to get the last hit. So when they do that, I'll shoot out my Q in the direction that they're coming from, and they're definitely going to commit to hitting that creep almost 90% of the time. And so you can usually get off both stacks of your Q. It does true damage on the way back, so you definitely want to hit it both ways. So try and hit like a max range Q on someone when they're going in for a last hit, and that's the way you want to harass people in the lane as Ahri. And if possible, you can even run up and throw down your W, get a few hits on that. This works really well against people who are like lower range. Of course, if you have someone who's really high bursty and can harass you back, then just try and stick to using the Q harass. You just have to, kind of determine who you're going to be against. Now, Ahri can go top lane or bottom lane. She does pretty well against a lot of top laners. And, obviously you're just going to have to be more wary that ganks can get you here. But once you hit level 6, that dash of hers is super nice. You can tower dive with it really well, and you can also use it to escape. It's a really great ability, as it allows her to do all kinds of really cool stuff. So while they do say that Ahri is some like mobile assassin, I don't agree with that, because having mobility once every minute, that's not really being mobile. That's just having like a mobile ability ult. I mean, it's nice at that point, but anyways, I don't want to go into that. My main point is that you just need to learn how to kite and use your abilities, and try not to ever use your ult except for the situations where it really calls for it, because your ult is so important to have up at the right critical times. She's really not that useful in team fights without it, and if you just burst it all off at once, then you're not using it properly. You need to be able to try and just use it once, use your abilities, and then get into better position, use your ult. Try and wait and find people who are either fleeing from battle, or use your ult to, jump back and get into better positioning so you don't die yourself. Her charm ability is actually really nice. I love to wait and use that. You don't want to just like blow it as part of your damage combo. A cool thing to do is to get people to chase you towards your tower, and then wait until the last second to use your charm so that it pulls them into the tower range and you get a little bit of extra damage off onto them that way. Also, the charm does keep them slowed a little bit, so it helps you escape ganks if they come at you. Just throw down your charm, and that'll allow you to kind of get away. Like, you can kind of usually know when your enemy is about to use the damage combo on you. So if you use your charm like right at the same time that you're about to get binded or stunned or something like that, it helps you avoid a lot of damage and get away after your binding is taken care of and that sort of thing. So that's definitely something you want to get good at doing. Overall, I think that Ahri is a pretty good champion to play. She's not the best, and I don't think she's going to be the most competitive pick. If they do some buffs on her, I think she could be really strong, so I'm not sure if they're going to go in that direction or not. But either way, high skill cap champion. If you're not looking for someone, or if you're looking for someone that takes a lot of skill to play, then pick her up. But if you want a face roll champion, that's not going to be the one for you. I think that you're going to see some really good Ahris and some really bad Ahris, and that's kind of my take on it. I got fed in some games, some other games I didn't do that well. Anyways, guys, that's it for now. This is Kobe Cheese. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. I'll see you around for the next one. Peace out.